So yeah, fitness. I mean, I've always been into fitness. So even from the kind of sense of I used to be a dancer.
Right.
So before breaking convention, before whatever, I used to dance. But I was always into fitness. My mum was into fitness. And then I just kind of got into it into my late teens.
When you say your mum was into fitness, like, did she do it professionally or she just worked out a lot? Or?
Well, in her kind of like when I was in my younger teens, I saw, you know what I mean? She went to the gym a lot. She was doing weightlifting and people wanted her to do competitions, but she didn't.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like inspired just the fact that she was, you know, my mum.
Yeah.
And I was a teenager and she was really fit.
Yeah.
I was inspired. I say inspired because I used to kind of watch Jane Fonda videos and eat ice cream and crisps while I was watching a video.
This looks cool though.
I was kind of inspired.
Yeah.
And then like sort of 18, I just kind of then got into training myself and would train on and off all through my sort of like 20s. And then obviously I was dancing as well. So then, you know what I mean? I guess my exercise then was just clubbing and dancing.
Yeah.
And then through my 30s on and off, even like when I had my son, I was still kind of training. And then in my 40s, I just really just became like really on it again, like doing
With
sort of...
anything in mind or just to be as fit and healthy as you can?
No, well, I started training with a collective called Block Workout, which was like a community fitness kind of like movement in South London. And just from training with them, it was kind of like that community, like family feeling of just training. I just really got into it. And then I think it was almost a thing of like you know what I mean? It just triggers your endorphins. Obviously, like training is good for you. So I think with just the stress of sometimes that my job can bring, you know, it's arts, but it's still stressful. It was almost like what kept me sane.
Right. It's like blowing off steam kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps me sane. So I was then doing things like 10-day in a row sort of boot camps, like waking up at 6:30 in the morning and training, then going to work, and then training on Saturdays as well. They did like another session on Saturday. So I really got so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ingrained in just training all the time, and then decided in 2014 that I wanted to go and do the training to qualify to be a personal trainer.
Oh, nice.
So did that, was working full time, and then doing that on weekends for like 8 weeks in a row, which was hell.
How old was your son at this point?
24. He would have been 14.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so he was 14.
Yeah.
And since then, just started. I now do classes on. I started doing classes on Tuesday morning in Angel, so I do it before work.
Yeah. On
a Tuesday morning.
Like general workout kind of classes, or
like body weight and and like boot camp sort of training, and then I'd also do some kind of like 5-day in a row boot camps. I was doing had a few clients, but it was quite a lot to be, you know what I mean, juggle around work, having clients. So now I just kind of do the classes, and then obviously since the pandemic, I've kind of like gone to Zoom. So I do like classes on Tuesday and Thursday mornings before work.
Nice. I have to say, like, one thing with the pandemic is everyone's learned to adapt. And well, I mean, not everyone, but a lot of us have learned to adapt. And there's so many things, like, you would have never thought to do a fitness class on Zoom before, but now that you have to, it's like, actually, you know, my question is, I guess, in general, again, is like, how much of this will remain afterwards? Because it's like, if you can do a Zoom class from home, maybe not that's what you would always do, but would you consider like, okay, now I'm back in the gym, I'm allowed to do 2 classes a week. I could do a third one on Zoom and not have to leave the house.
I definitely still would want to do some. I mean, it's the nice thing, obviously, about something like Zoom, because there's a lot of people that used to do class with me, and then when they left Sadler's Wells, they would be like, oh, okay, I've moved now, my job's here, or I live here and I can't come to class anymore. Whereas, you know, there were people even... You know, some people travelling back home. There was people in France doing the class. There's people that live in Brighton. There's people that live in the north of England. There's people all over now that can do class. So I wouldn't stop.
Yeah, I don't
doing an online class, but I would definitely also want to do.
Yeah, to be back in real life. I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to stay, because even, you know, with dance classes that are online now, it's like, what's to stop? Or even, I guess it's the same with a fitness class. What's to stop you having 30 places in the class and then live streaming it on IG and charging half price for another 30? You know what I mean? It's like
Someone suggested that to me about fitness class, but I know what would happen. It's like I would be making my way to my class, and then I'd have people like, oh, Shell, I'm not coming today because I'm just going to join you on. No.
Yeah, like they'll get lazy.
No.
Yeah.
So I think I'd have to keep them very separate. It's like you either do the online class or I also do one in person. And if I do one in person, that's where you turn up.
So there's no option to just,
because believe
to just stay at home.
I've experienced too much. I mean, people pay and then miss classes for whatever reasons. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
don't give them another one.
No.
That's interesting. Yeah. So actually, I've got one question. I don't want to go too much into this topic because we're to the tail end of this. But what would be your view on the just as a fitness professional, I guess, like the body positivity kind of movement and people being happy in any size? If your kind of goal is this and helping people to get to their most fit, where do you stand on this kind of the body positivity and everyone can be happy at every size? And because I guess at some point that becomes unhealthy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And this is kind of my question mark in my head sometimes is yes, I agree. If we are happy, we should be allowed to be happy however we look. Yeah. But then also, at what point do we say you're unhealthy?
I mean, I get that, and I get it in a sense of that it's also lends to we should be happy with what we have. We should be happy with, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. There's loads of things that I think there's a clear message and positive message in being enough as you are and being good enough as you are. But my thing is that, you can be what looks or appears to be overweight, but you could be quite healthy.
Yes. Yeah.
You could eat quite healthy. You could be training and active, and it depends on what's going on inside your body more than, you know what I mean? The same way that you could be, slender and what looks like you're very healthy because you know what I mean? You haven't got excess pounds, but you're really unhealthy. So to me, it is about health. It's not so much into how someone looks. It's about their health.
So you're fit, when you train people, you would more focus on or actually what would you more focus on? Because I know a lot of people, when you're not a professional, you're just I'm working out, my belly's still there. I'm talking about myself now. Yeah. But I'm some people, I'm some people. But I guess for you being a professional, so do you more focus on how do you feel? How is your stamina? What sort of
everyone's different. So the first thing is, when you start training people, it's almost what is your, do you know what I mean? What is your goal kind of thing? And for some people, it might be I just want to build my strength.
Yeah.
So it's not about that I want a six-pack or, do you know what I mean? Big guns or, you know what I mean? It's I just want to improve my strength. Some people, it might be I want to improve my stamina and endurance. Some people, it might be that I want to whatever. And then you are then going to have to be strict. And, they say 70 to 80% is diet. So you are going to then be okay, I need to look at my diet. I need to look at all of these things. And when am I trying to achieve this by? So it's an individual thing.
Right.
But I think that even if, regardless of whatever, to keep moving, it's a physical thing, but also it's a mental thing. So training is always going to be good for you, even if that means you just going for a walk every day. It's going to be good for you rather than just not doing anything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think also the reason I ask as well is I think maybe when I was younger, a lot of the criticism was leveled at let's say the modeling industry of you make expectations like this, blah, blah. But now I've started to see it change a little bit. And now where for me, I think it's great that fitness has become a trend. People say that in a bad way, but I'm that's the best trend that could happen. Exactly. What everybody's trying to, and all these influencers, people are all these influencers are in the gym, it's they're in the gym, making themselves healthier. How is that a bad thing? But I think I've also seen a lot of people leveling that criticism that used to be on the modeling industry and those stereotypical skinny models. Now it's starting to turn towards the fitness industry, you're making me feel like this and that. And my parents are both athletes, they're both gymnasts. And so I came from that background of understanding, I guess, fitness for what it really was, not just the cover of Men's Health was this. It was more, I understood strength and stuff like that. So I think for me, I was always I don't think that's what the fitness industry are doing. Just because this guy has a six-pack on Men's Health cover, that's not, and maybe it's the marketing side of fitness.
I guess if you're looking at it from the perspective of, Instagram, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always going to have that kind of connotation with it because Instagram is very much this look at me platform. So I think that's probably where the criticism is coming from, because it is this thing of in the same way that everyone looks at Instagram, it's like, well, I haven't got this car, or I haven't got this house, or I haven't got this, I'm not going on this holiday. So I think that's the danger with that. So I think anything that's kind of pushed on Instagram is always going to have that backlash, in the sense of it's not real, and it's also what it says to other people that feel like they're not enough.
Yeah, yeah.
So it will just be one thing. You know, I can turn around and be like, you know, if I'm slim or whatever, I can look at maybe the kind of movement. It's like, oh, you got to be thick, so you got to have a booty out here, and you got to have thighs like this, or you got to have boobs. Do you know what I mean? And be like, well, I don't look like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then also feel insecure in that sense. So I think that's just the danger of Instagram, period. And I think when it comes to, you know, my own, when it comes to health and whatever else, is always kind of like everything in moderation anyway. Right. So I would never sort of turn around, as I was saying to you maybe off air, but sort of saying this thing of like, people come to me like, oh my gosh, like, Cheryl, I ate this, and I shouldn't be telling you this. And I'm like, you know, it's like, live your life. Do you know what I mean? I don't think anything, it's like everything for you should be like where it's like your lifestyle. It shouldn't be this thing of like, oh my gosh, this is like a chore. I'm having to starve myself to do this, or I'm having to train and I hate it. It's like, find things that you love to be active.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not everyone is going to want to be in the gym. You know what I mean? If you want to dance, then dance.
Yeah.
That's do you know what I mean? It's exercise. You know what I mean? If you want to go and do climbing, go and do climbing. If you like swimming, you know what I mean? Whatever is going to be for you that is movement and good for your health, then do that.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're not taking, you know what I mean? And also, a lot of these people that are like, oh yeah, fitness, and I look like this, are getting things done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not realistic in that sense. It's like,
I guess you have to ask yourself, where are your expectations coming from? Are they external or internal? Because it's like, if you're like, I struggle with this, I think. And like, you know, with fitness wise, it's like, okay, should I be like starving myself and eating like everything that I hate just to like be super healthy? And then I'm like, am I, you know, depressed with the way I look? When I feel in shape, not really, I don't ever have a six pack, but I don't feel horrible when I look in the mirror. And can I do everything that I want to do? If I can do enough dance rounds, if I can complete a whole theatre piece without passing out, like that's my expectation. So anything above that, where I'm like, oh, I wish I had a six pack, or I wish I had big muscle, it's like, that's not me, because internally I don't believe that. I'm just letting society tell me that that's what I need, I guess.
Also, if you feel shit, you're gonna, you know what I mean? Internalize so many things that on a day that you're feeling good, you're not going to give a shit. You know what I mean? You won't care.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're feeling good and you're hanging out with your loved ones and you're having fun and you're creating memories and whatever else, you're not caring about your gut. Do you know what I mean?
It's when you're in a bad place already.
If you're in a bad place and you're going to be like, this and this, and I haven't done this and I haven't this and I don't look like you. That's when you're going to start, you know what I mean, criticizing yourself. So
the secret to fitness is to be happy. Boom.